Good. Okay, awesome. Hello, class. Today I will be You gotta say that at the beginning of every tutorial. You gotta say, hey, my name is Shay, and today I'll be showing you how to put a line work on an ambient occlusion render. Okay, so let's put this in a different layer. Just gonna take that out. So first of all, there are two ways you can do the boundary around your object. You can do it the way Alex showed you, export that as a line work. Or you could also, in Illustrator, come to image trace. And let's just do a shades of gray. Actually, I'm gonna make a copy of this first. I'm gonna put that in a separate layer. Okay, good. Now let's do a shades of gray. And what that would do is it would convert the raster image into a vector fill and line work. Okay, good. Now I'm gonna right click and let's expand this on group, and let's delete that and delete this and delete all of this. This is actually really rough. Oh, wait a minute. Let's use this one instead. Because the edges of that is really rough. So let's use a technical drawing. Good. Okay, so with the technical drawing, you get really nice, clean looking lines. If you expand that and ungroup, you get, single curves. So you can just delete those curves. Someone asked a question last semester about how you get a curve from a drawing. That's how you do it. Were you the one? Yeah, good. Okay, so that's how you do it. Just use the technical drawing. But I think it has to be a line. Let's cover that. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna draw a box around this object, okay? And I'm gonna select everything that I have. I'm gonna just press the key K for key in Illustrator. What that allows you to do is put a color fill in a space, and I'm gonna switch this around so it's a color fill as opposed to an outline, and I'm just gonna drop that there. And now I have this sort of color fill around my object. And if I expanded that, and let's ungroup it. Now if I drag that fill out, I can release the clipping mask, because what it's basically doing is there's a line inside here and there's a line outside there, and it's creating a clipping mask to give me that void. So if I right click, can I do that by right clicking? Okay, just go to Objects, go to Clipping Mask. Wait a minute. Oh, I still have to ungroup, sorry. Is everyone good so far? Okay, you guys are not really good with cues, but I'll take it as it is. Okay, let's release compound path. And now every shape is sort of separated. So now you can see that's one shape, this is another shape. That's really how Illustrator creates voids and stuff like that. So let's delete the box, we don't need that. And I'm just gonna convert this to an outline. And I don't think I need this anymore. And now I'm gonna turn on my image layer, and I'm gonna bring this right on top of it. Let's give that's 1, let's make it 2. Okay, and now that's looking sort of bolder. And if you zoom in, you'd see that it has these really ugly corners. Like, you can just fix that by selecting the line and using a rounded corner. It looks smoother that way. And then we're gonna let's go back and bring in our wireframe again. So I'm just gonna resize that again and make it the same size. Let's make that bigger. Okay. Actually, this looks fine. Okay, good. So now that I have the wireframe on top of it, although it's a PNG, like I can still go to my color and transparency editor and multiply that. And when I multiply it, just look around here, you'll notice a difference. So if you multiply that, it sort of looks like it doesn't look like a layer placed on the surface. It makes it look like the lines are on the surface. So that versus this. And you can reduce the opacity, you know, make it look like a really techy thing. Yeah, high tech, I don't know, shape. Okay, another thing you could do is, again, go back to the background ambient occlusion render and just what I did initially, use shades of gray. So it doesn't even look like a render now, it looks like a diagram that you actually drew and like color filled each gradient. Like everyone's gonna think you're so hardworking, like, oh my God, this guy spent like 5 hours drawing this thing. But like, you just seem interesting. See? Everyone's gonna think that I drew that, and like, I mean, no one would think that, but whatever. It just makes it look more interesting. So you could do that. And with this, you can actually just, let's expand that. And let's bring that to the top layer. Expand that, let's ungroup that. Let's lock all these other layers. And you can start to like delete all of these places you don't need. Right? Like just clean that up a little. I'm going to bring the boundary back to the top. Oh, that's a long one. Okay. Good. And now you have something that looks like that. So yeah, so that's very, very quick transitioning. On the other hand, if you're bringing stuff from Rhino, you know, say you're doing your line work in Rhino. Let's use this one. So if you're doing your line work in Rhino, you want to have your ambient occlusion render as a layer. You want to have your primary make 2D drawing of whatever it is that you're diagramming as another layer. And like this, you know, you can just use you can use a 0.2 line weight, give it some like really nice gray color, like 50%. I usually use 50%. It's hard to go wrong. That's just so that it looks really light. Again, you create this outline in Rhino before bringing it to Illustrator, and you can just do that by trimming all these lines, doing all that stuff in Rhino. If you want to have grass and stuff like that, make them as like outlines in Rhino that you can export. Get really nice silhouettes of people online, makes it look really good. So let's assume I brought all this information from Rhino. I can just start to layer them over this ambient occlusion. So let's bring the line work, just put that on it, match it up, looking cool already. Bring the outline, match that up. And so the other thing you want to notice is everything can have a sort of edge line or like line work on it, but whatever your diagram is focusing on is what you want to put your boundary around, so that you sort of making the eyes just sort of go towards that object. And this is the most important thing, so my boundary goes around that. Yeah, so line that up. Yeah, I think it's lined up. So say this is my grass. I can just convert the line to a fill, give it a green color or pink. Let's use the CMYK. Pink grass. How do you get green? Green is what? Blue and yellow? Damn it, green. Okay, good. Take your green fill, bring it there, drop it on it, really nice and smooth. What you want to do when you're applying fields on your ambient occlusion is you want to multiply them. That way you can see the shadows through the field. So if this was not multiplied, it totally blocks the ambient occlusion shadows. But when you multiply it, it becomes a transparent thing. It overlays on the shadow. And now let's bring the people and all the other information. The people just makes it look so good. People and trees and stuff like that. See? And you know what? The funniest thing is when you zoom out, the people look real and like, I mean, in scale and context, it looks so good. But when you zoom in, look at it. It's just a bunch of flat people. Like, you know, it doesn't really look that good up close, but it looks really good from afar. That's what you want. Fine from far, but far from fine, you know. Yeah, put trees, you know, put call-outs, diagram stuff. I hope this helps. Yeah, you can, sorry, last thing, you can also use patterns instead of color fields. So you can do that by going to your swatches, that icon, swatches. Use that drop-down menu, go to your open swatch library, and go to patterns, say basic graphic dots, and double-click, and like you have that nice pattern. And if you right-click on that and you transform and you scale, you can scale the size of the pattern inside the object. So to do that, just uncheck your transform object, and let's preview it. And like say scale by 40%. Now that becomes really small. If you wanted to change the color of that, you can go into window, go to pattern options, and it brings you here, and just double click in that little box. And now you can select that. This time around, I'm definitely going pink. Good, pink. Say done, and now your pattern is pink. And hopefully this helps. That concludes the tutorial for today. I wish you guys best of luck. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us. We'll post this online. Make sure it's available for you.